Welcome to the Two Pages Project, part of the Coil Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Rob Steele. If you'd like to become a published author with us, stay tuned after the show for a vast majority of the details. But in the meantime, let's get right to this week's story, written by Alex Lydon. This week we have a different spin than some of our previous writings. This week, a high-speed action story with turns. Jacob Best, test driver. His mission today is to take the Koenigsegg Agera R to its limit. The difference between this day and his normal driving days, there won't be a track. No perfectly paved road, no ovals, and to be honest, very few guardrails. Just a man, his car, and his wits. The Koenigsegg Agera R is one of the most advanced cars on the planet. Developed in Sweden, it produces 1,140 horsepower and 1,200 Newton meters of torque. It set a world record by going from 0 to 300 kilometers an hour and back to 0 in just 21.19 seconds. The road for today's test is not where premier drivers like Jacob Best would typically find a test road. This is State Road 95 between Lenoir City and Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The locals call it White Wing Road. It passes Melton Hill Dam, the backdoor entrance roads to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, or ORNL, formerly known as the X-10 nuclear plant, and the road leading to the Y-12 National Security Complex, also formerly a nuclear plant and weapons plant. The 3-and-a-bit-mile road contains hills, twists, turns, and a dangerously narrow trestle and something rarely thought of in Tennessee, tree-laden cliffs. While this is a road Jacob has driven many times before, the road has been closed for driver safety, both his and anyone who would happen to be driving at the same time. The Koenigsegg Agera R is one of the most agile cars on the planet, but even Jacob Best knows that he's not going to be staying in one lane if he takes this road at speed. The starting point is a small paved section near exit 364 on Interstate 40 across from Grub Creek. Car and Driver magazine have strategically lined the road with cameras to catch this particular attempt. While there is no official record for how fast this road has been traversed, this road is well known for being extraordinarily dangerous. Many of the locals prefer to go out of their way to connect with the interstate by using exits 356 or 369. Legend has it, it got its name White Wing Road from all the angels it's created over the years. Today, it may add one more, but tempting fate is what test drivers are born for. The conditions are perfect. A cool spring morning, no rain for the past week, so the road is bone dry. Spotters have been placed along the road to warn of deer sightings. The elusive creatures are known in these parts as serious road hazards. Despite the bright daylight, the overhanging trees cause enough shadow on the road to confuse the creatures that live in the forest and taunt them into thinking the road is uninhabited, when it isn't. Another reason for the white wings. His crew has checked the car thoroughly, its sleek silver shape glistening in the sun, its one visible peculiarity being the single windscreen wiper whose resting position places it proudly in the middle of the windscreen. The other oddity that sets it apart from other cars, visually, are the doors. Jacob opens the driver's door, but rather than swing out like a normal car or flap up like the gull wing on some high-end Mercedes-Benz, the door rolls forward and up. Jacob Best, suited up in a flame-resistant racer suit and helmet, assumes his driving position. The 5-point safety harness is strapped in place. The ignition button is pressed and the car roars to life. All of the instruments show that the car is in perfect working order. He takes the steering wheel, pulls the paddle, and the semi-automatic transmission puts the car into the first of its 7 gears, and the car sets off. The slow left turn and subsequent straight make for a good running start. 2nd gear as he passes Buttermilk Road. 3rd as he passes the Marine and Auto Shop and the slow right turn. The car is already approaching 100 miles an hour, picking up speed rapidly as he crosses the first bridge over the somewhat appropriately named Clinch River. 150 miles an hour as he approaches the gradual left. On the follow-through, the road is no longer straight. It weaves slightly, left and right. The first real obstacle is a left turn by a water sluice. He feels the electric differential working as the car hustles into the turn and almost immediately spins the wheel in the other direction as the road shifts again. The trees, having sprung up around him like a massive green wall around the road, blur as he reluctantly slows the car for the turn. Another straight ahead allows him to press the accelerator to the floor, regaining much of his lost speed. Another left ahead. This time, he attempts to regain his speed through the turn. The car drifts slightly, but not enough to be out of his control. The road drops at a sharp angle as he heads for an almost 90-degree right turn. Hard on the brakes, the tires screeching at the attempt to maintain contact with the road. A brief straight and another turn, this time left, and a quick twist to the right as the road straightens out again. The first milestone. A temporarily non-functioning stoplight for the ORNL lab is here and gone before he even really registers that there's an intersection. The combination of the road and the car is so fast. Another sharp left ahead, followed by a 180-degree right turn and another 90-degree left. The tires are straining to their limits. The brakes are pulling the car one way and then the other. A quick glance at the speedometer shows his speed has been reduced to 95 miles an hour. And even then, as fast as he knows it is, as fast as the car is capable of, as sure of his skills as he is, it seems like the road is too fast for the car, even one as spectacular as this one. A quarter-mile straight is here and gone. Another right turn. It's hard to tell there are multiple trees. It's all a great green blur. Right again. Straight. Right. Hard left. The road suddenly darts uphill. He forces the accelerator to the floor to maintain speed, forgetting what comes next. The upward slant is almost instantly transformed into a downward slope. Gravity is unable to contain such a drastic change in direction with the speed, and the car loses contact with the road. Jacob's heart has been racing almost as fast as the landscape. For a moment while he's airborne, he's pretty sure it stopped. The landscape seemed to stop. Everything seemed to stop. He was aware of the right turn. He was also aware he wouldn't be able to make it unless he returned to the ground, which he did just in time. The ground rushed up and the wheeled missile returned to terra firma. The car drifted, but not enough to send it careening into the trees. He'd have to be more careful, especially with what was coming up, the narrow trestle. He'd never seen a train going across the bridge. He wasn't even sure it was a train track above the road. He just knew there was a narrow, concrete barrier holding up the bridge and a long left-hand turn going in and coming out of the passage. He checked the gauges of his car in the all-too-brief straight before the turn. All systems still green, although he was sure the tires might disagree. Again, he floored the car, bringing it back up to almost 125 miles an hour in the short distance before the turn. Then, again, he applied the brake as he entered the perilous curve. The concrete walls so close he could swear he could feel them. The next section of road is much easier. The road does turn left, but it's gradual and over the next half mile, uphill. Speed is of the essence. The end is in sight. Only a few more seconds and...
Thank God this road is over.
His daughter's voice from behind him made him almost lose complete control.
She's right, honey. We really hate this road,
added Miss Best from the front passenger seat.
Are you ever going to drive it normally?
Almost. He'd almost had the dream completed. Only a few more feet until the end of White Wing Road, and then the return to the extraordinarily bland Oak Ridge Turnpike. Someday his family would just let him have the dream in peace. Until then, time to finish driving the minivan to the in-laws. Oh, joy. I don't know about you, but I think that was a fun story. If you'd like to have us do your story, and that is the purpose of this show, send in your work. Check the website, twopagesproject.com, for the rules, and we'll take your short story and publish it first as an ebook on the website, and then we'll turn it into an audiobook on the podcast, and when we have enough stories, we'll turn it into an actual book that you can buy at a store. If you'd like to submit a story, email it to contact@twopagesproject.com. We will be open to any type of story you want to send us. Like I said before, it's not just mysteries now. It's science fiction, it's history, it's fantasy, it's western, it's melodrama, whatever you want to write, we'll take it. Just submit your story for the audiobook treatment and publishing on our website. Don't forget to use the new email address, contact@twopagesproject.com. Don't forget to also pass the show around because it's free and it's fun. We'd also like to thank iTunes, the Google Play Store, Village Connection Radio, and the Happy Hour Network for passing the show along. Don't forget to follow all the Coil Entertainment Network shows on Pinterest or YouTube. And please check out the Coil Entertainment Network store on the website coil.us, COYL. We've got t-shirts and hats that all go to support the network, so please check that out. And if you're interested in being part of the audiobook process, like a voice, for example, use that same email address, contact@twopagesproject.com. We'll see what we can do. So until next week, be safe and keep writing.